Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to your Monday night. It is me, the Redneck JT, got Sully, the geek, right over here by me. Not too close, though. He's contagious, That's okay. Avenger Pretenders is back on your Monday night, and tonight, Ironheart Episodes 3 and 4 is what we are going to be talking about. And it's going to be a fun ride, trust me. So do me a favor, grab yourself something to munch on and whatever it is that you want to drink. Sit back in that beanbag chair and strap yourself in because it is going to be one bumpy ass ride. Sully, it's all yours.
Oh, I thank you, sir. Yes, welcome to Avenger Pretenders. As JD said, I am the geek and he is the redneck. Yes. And don't mind the fan blowing cool air on me. It's a little warm down here in the studio today. 95-degree weather will do that to you. But, yay, we're here. Before we get started and do the breakdown and talk about episodes 3 and 4, just remember next week we are off. We will not be live at all. I'm giving JT a week. A week to collect his thoughts for both.
So nice of you.
I know, right? A week to collect your thoughts for both Avenger Pretenders and The Sully Show. Figured, why not? Why not? So, with that being said, let's get right down to the nitty gritty. Ironheart Episode 3. Well, as JT said to me when he watched the episode, well, things got a little dark real quick.
Oh, just a little bit dark.
Just a tad bit, maybe. There's some things happening. Some things.
I'd like, holy shit.
And let's face it, you know as well as I do that we've got Norse gods, we've got the Hulk, we've got all these characters throughout the MCU. And as other people would put it, Ironheart is not Iron Man.
No. Oh, no, nowhere close.
Nowhere close.
I do want to say hi to our good friend from across the northern border. Miss Carol is in the chat room with us tonight. Great to have you along.
Hi, Carol. How are you? Hope you're doing well.
She might not hear us because the ad break is going on right now. So.
Womp womp. Well, I mean, if she subscribed to the channel, she wouldn't get those ads.
She's back now.
Just saying.
She said she's doing good.
Yay! Glad you're doing well. Doing well. Well, just to bring people up to speed on what's happening here in good old Ironheart, you have to remember that we have this wonderful person by the name of Joe McGillicuddy. Oh, Joe, also known as Ezekiel Stain. Yes, we've gone over this.
Mm-hmm.
He's dealing with things in his life that he also doesn't believe that his father was killed in a boating accident.
Yeah.
And if you don't remember that, go watch Iron Man. A lot of ties to Iron Man in this one. Small little nuggets, I guess you could say. And let's face it, Ezekiel is trying desperately not to become his father. He stated this. He doesn't like confrontation. He walks away.
Yeah, and, he is also trying very hard to not let people know who he is. That's why he's going by Joe McGillicuddy.
Which is perfectly fine.
Yeah, totally understand. He's trying to be incognito.
Which is
totally
perfectly fine. However, a neighbor of his pisses him off.
Little Miss Black-Eyed Susan, we'll call her.
Yeah. Also known as the neighborhood Karen.
Who
likes to let her dog shit on his yard.
who lives right across the street,
Yeah.
and not clean up the shit. I mean, it's not a big deal if they let them poop on your yard. Dogs go where they're going to go.
It's true.
The issue comes when you don't pick the shit up, literally.
Yeah. 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 I mean, let's face it. This episode alone does kind of center on Ezekiel a little bit more, and even the camaraderie, I guess you could say, with Riri.
I would say the more the relationship than the camaraderie.
Yeah. I mean, and he tells her about being Ezekiel and all of that good stuff, which is, perfectly fine.
Yeah,
But
she doesn't care,
no, she really doesn't care, and that's okay. It's all right. But as we find out, he does try to explain the obsession with the technology that he has and the advanced black market technology, and that's why she keeps going to him for these heists. Now, this episode centers on a heist that has to do with one of the most secured facilities on the planet.
Outside of Fort Knox.
Yes. Well, yes. And even with this,
I would say it is a more secure facility than Fort Knox.
think so?
Fort Knox doesn't have nearly the security protocols that this place has, as we find out.
Yeah, true.
Where it can, I mean, there's 6 wings on this place.
Yes.
You got the center hub, 6 wings that go off it. Each one of them can be isolated, can be locked down.
Yep.
And you can actually manipulate the atmosphere within
Yes.
each of these wings, i.e., take all the oxygen out and send in nothing but carbon dioxide.
Yeah. And
They can't do that, as far as I know, at Fort Knox.
no. And the place we're referring to is Heirloom Biotechnologies. Heirloom Biotechnologies.
Also, the fact that it is basically a self-sustaining island.
Yeah, it's like its own ecosystem.
Yeah, out in the middle of, I won't say the ocean, but some kind of a
Oh, Lake Michigan.
bay. Is it Lake Michigan?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's
So, out in the middle of Lake frickin' Michigan.
Yeah.
That's right, because they came out from Chicago to it. Yeah.
Yep.
Duh. Hello.
Chicago.
My brain was thinking like a Gulf of Mexico or some shit. But yeah, Lake Michigan.
You got to remember Chicago,
Yeah, Chicago.
where they're going to get some Polish sausage and get it lodged in the lining of your heart.
Yeah, go Bears.
The Bears.
No, not the Bears.
The Bears.
Go Packers.
Bears. The Bulls.
Go Packers. Anyway,
They're not in Chicago.
I don't care.
I'm just saying.
But yes, like you said, it's basically a self-sustaining island out in the middle of Lake Michigan.
It looks like a starfish.
And obviously they have, radar and scanners and shit going around on the water and everything. So, you got to get to it first.
Yes. Well,
So.
Before things really hit the fan, and again, this is the heist that they're going to be doing. We also see that Ezekiel actually finds Riri and shows up at her apartment. And he's like, I can't, if I could find you, pretty much anybody can find you. But at the same time, he's like, I can't stop. I can't stop thinking about it. I can't stop thinking about some of the stuff that we had already talked about. I can't stop thinking about some of the things that all of the tech that I have could help improve people.
Yep.
Improve their life.
I mean, he was damn near okay. When we take Hercules and Thunder outside to play ball,
Yep.
right? Hercules stands at the door dancing.
Dancing.
He will hop up on his back feet and dance and then drop down on all fours, and he's still dancing and he's looking around. That's what Joe looked like when he was standing outside of Riri's door.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He was dancing.
I mean, he was just as happy as can be.
He was like, yo.
Extremely excited.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, because of that, Riri's like, whoa, dude, chill, relax.
Right.
Shit's gonna hit the fan if you keep saying what you're saying. However, some of his ideas were really good.
Oh, yeah.
But, and I stress the but.
Again.
He's trying to get himself involved in making his life better. He doesn't like it. And after meeting Riri, he's at that point of, nope, you know what? Something needs to change. I need to get a backbone. I need to do what I need to do and just be done with it.
But a lot of that is because of the conversation that he and Riri had in episode 3 when they were at the silo storage. Or I'm sorry, episode 2.
We're on 3.
When they were at the storage silo,
Yes.
going through and you know, finishing up her suit.
Yes.
And that was one of the things that she said to him is, you know, you need to stand up for yourself.
Yes.
You know, you can do that without people realizing you're Ezekiel Stain.
Yeah.
But you need to stand up for yourself, because if you don't, I mean, look at you. People are going to walk all over you for the rest of your life, and you don't need that.
Agreed.
And he took it and ran with it. And, you know, he ran a marathon with it instead of just a 5K to start off with.
Well, also true. Also true. So, aside from that conversation, we run into the Hood, also known as Parker Robbins, who, yes, is the Hood in the comics. That's his name. And his band of merry peoples. And I say that nicely. Peoples. And the cool thing about this is where he starts talking about the heirloom and what they do. So in secret, they create floating farms, which is really good for agriculture, you know. But there's a reason behind it that we're still trying to figure out. Because if you think about it, he's already done 2 heists where they just made like a shit ton of money. Okay? The owners or CEOs signed contracts and they did what they needed to do, and boom, done. You know? Well, because the island itself is a techno island, it is rigged with every single alarm imaginable.
Mm-hmm.
Every single alarm imaginable. So no foreign objects, no weapons, no knives, no bombs.
Yeah.
No suit.
It actually has detectors for metal.
Everything you can think of.
And I never knew that there was a detector for that kind of thing. So that's something new to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's cool. It's definitely something that needs to be developed if it's not,
Sure.
because that's pretty freaking cool.
Sure. However, there's a lot of different things that everybody can still do with their job in order to get in and do what they need to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But by this time, Riri's kind of like, I don't think I want to do this anymore. She's getting that conscience from the episode before where the hood shot a bullet and it deflected off of her suit and curved and hit the security guard / rent-a-cop.
And she's really interested in the hood.
Oh, yeah.
What's going on with the hood? I can't get the hood itself, but if I can get a piece of it, then maybe I can analyze it
And find out
and figure out what's going on and figure out how to defeat him.
Yes. Yes.
Which is not a good thing to be trying to figure out when you're in the guy's gang.
Yeah.
Or, not gang, crew.
Yes. Now, the one thing about this is each person had their own specific job in a specific part of this floating island, which I thought was interesting. Okay. And
Interesting good or interesting bad?
Good. Because it kind of reminded me of like some of the older video games where you play multiple characters and you each have to do like your own thing before you can progress in the story, that type of thing,
Yeah.
which I love. I love that. But
Well, and there's been several movies where people's jobs have been very specific,
right.
and that is the only thing they knew about this job that they were going. This is what I have to do. And I do this right after so-and-so does that, and before so-and-so does that.
Right.
But they were all doing these almost simultaneously.
Yes. Now, the one thing that they're trying to do is basically take over the company just like they have on the other heists. Okay? What the reasoning is for this, we don't know yet. But there is a major reason. I guarantee it as we go along. Now, because Riri can't bring her suit inside, now she has an issue of, okay, if I'm going to try and get a piece of his hood, I need to bring something in with me.
Yeah, this is the only time I'm going to have a chance to do it.
Yes.
Because it's the only time that it's, not going to be secured, basically. And it's funny the description that you gave.
Oh.
For from them having individual jobs and from a video game.
Yep.
Because this says that it's staged like a good steal mission from one of the Arkham Asylum or Spider-Man video games.
Oh, there you go. Not gonna lie, I didn't even read that part.
It's literally how it's written up in this review.
Yep. Now, what happens next is Riri gets back home. Well, from the what would you say, the planning session?
Yes.
From the planning session, she gets back home. And before she moves on, because she needs some more tech, so to speak, she's met by her mother and the police. And they start questioning her about Stuart, also known as Rampage. And the only reason that they're questioning her about Stuart / Rampage is because Stuart / Rampage is dead. They found his body, they found his phone, and they saw that there was a missed call from Riri to Stewart, which,
Realize fellow techie.
yep,
Just as
fellow
a
techie,
reminder.
you know, just met him, said if I had any questions or anything like that, I could give him a call. I don't really know the guy. I just tried to call him and he's not answering his phone. And that's when the police mentioned to her, well, he's dead. He was murdered. And she kind of puts two and two together of, okay, well, who did it? Why? And it had to have been the Hood's group that killed him.
Well, she specifically thought the Hood
Well, yeah.
killed it. But it wasn't. It turned out to be Joe.
Yes, but we'll get into that.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. So, in the previous episodes, Stewart / Rampage got fired from the group and Riri took his place as the tech guy. And now it's, okay, I need to figure out how I'm going to get that tech inside so I can get a piece of the Hood so I can analyze it. So she goes back to Zeke. Joe, or Ezekiel. And she's like, I need some biomesh. But at the same time, when she turns up at his house, he's got his arm completely cut open, trying to put some new technology in his arm to, what was it? I think it was to heal himself, right?
I'm not sure what it was for.
I don't think they ever actually mentioned it.
No, it was he kind of tried to do the bionic man to himself
Yes.
a little bit, and it didn't work. It actually burned him. So, he needed Riri to not fix him, but help him out.
Yes.
To kind of do the first aid thing for him.
Yeah. So when all is said and done, obviously Riri patches him up, glues his arm back together pretty much, doesn't stitch it, uses some nice high-tech technology to fix him up, also known as bandages.
Yeah. She put some kind of a gel on there and then wrapped it in the bandage, and that's about all I can do for you, pal.
Yeah, and you go from there, So Natalie is like, okay, this is where I come in. But correct me if I'm wrong, Natalie also wanted to be free.
Yeah, free of the suit.
So to speak. So Riri develops something for her necklace that just push a button and Natalie can join her and walk and talk and do whatever. As long as that sensor is on, she can do what she needs to, which I thought was amazing.
Very cool.
Very cool.
They went and had lunch and sat by the lake and talked, and
Hell, Tony Stark never even did that.
just had a lovely little time together.
Yeah. Which is great. Which is great. I wish I could come up with stuff like that. Yeah. I mean, I thought it was great, But that's when Natalie starts going into, hello, don't you remember that guy can bend bullets? This is going to be bad. And, oh, by the way, if you get caught, ruh-roh,
Yeah.
something's going to happen. So, what do? They go along with the heist. She's got the biomesh on. She's holding a laser cutter underneath it so it can't be detected, which is yay and smart at the same time. And then, I wouldn't say all hell breaks loose. Not yet, anyway.
Well, we'll put it this, because you're talking about their inside heirloom now, right?
Yeah, now they're inside
Okay.
heirloom, you know. And I know
Things,
we're skipping like small parts here and there, and that's okay. We want to center on the heist because the heist is the most important part of this.
well, one thing, when Ezekiel's biggest worry, I had to slow my head down.
Yep, you had to take a little break.
Yeah. Ezekiel's biggest worry, because he was very against giving her the biomesh
Yes.
because it could be traced back to him.
Yes.
And that was his biggest worry. So he made Riri promise to him that it would not be traced back to him.
Mm-hmm.
Keep that in mind.
Yes.
Now, things did not go the way that Parker / the Hood thought they would, like they did when they hit the lady that made the tunnel.
Tunnel, yes. And
He got in there and he laid everything out for her, and she says, okay, fine, and she signed the contract.
Yes.
Well, they get in there, and first, Riri kind of keeps with the plan, but at the same time goes off and does her own thing because she's trying to get a piece of the cape
Yes.
or the hood. So, and she knows where that's going to be. That's going to be where Parker is. So she finds a way to get to where he is. Natasha, wow. Natalie is running the suit. Hey, I stopped myself.
You did.
Natalie is running the suit, which is standing guard on a tower.
Yes. Sentry mode.
yes, sentry mode engaged. Parker goes to where the man who owns and runs Helium
Heirloom.
is. Heirloom, sorry.
Yep.
Heirloom. Helium, heirloom, close enough. But to where the guy that runs the heirloom is. And he, the guy's like, oh, I know you're there.
Yeah.
Because Parker does his little materialize out of nowhere thing.
Out of thin air. Yes.
I kind of call it the Star Trek. Because it kind of gets beamed in.
Yes.
And then beamed up. But anyway. Parker lays everything out for the guy, and he's like, all you got to do is sign the contract and we'll be out of your hair.
Yeah.
And instead of cowering,
he says no.
Dude looks him straight in the face and says, no.
No. It's not happening.
And Parker's like, what?
Now, don't forget, at this time, while they're talking, Riri is hiding underneath so she can cut a piece of the hood off. And
at the same time, the other teams, because I think there's 2 other teams.
Yep, they're doing what they need to do.
Of the crew, they're off doing their things.
Yep.
One of them setting fire to one of the biological bays, and the other one's off I can't remember exactly what they were doing.
Well,
but they were messing the place up. Is basically what they were doing.
The twins were taking people out.
Right.
Clown was getting ready to blow shit up.
Mm-hmm.
And then, who's the other one? I forget the one. Crap. I forget the name.
Yeah.
Crap. It's going to bug me now. Hold on a minute here. Just do a quick look up here, because that's how I roll. Slug.
Right. And John.
Yes, and John. They were all off doing their own thing. Now, remember, John is kind of like the deterrent, the nuclear deterrent, so to speak. but has no problem.
Yeah,
taking anybody
he's the
out.
one that brings Parker back from the edge.
Yes, he's the one that'll calm you down. And if he doesn't calm you down, you got a problem. Because they're cousins. Parker and John are cousins. Now, he is also at the point in time where he's noticing things are not the way it should be. Also known as Riri.
Yeah. Which is why he's standing right next to the suit.
Yes. And Natalie obviously is not going to make any sound because, well, she doesn't want to be found out either.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the point where all hell starts breaking loose. And I mean that in the way of with the CEO saying no, Riri cutting off a piece of the hood, which was a good thing.
Which she actually didn't know she did until she just so happened to spot the piece.
Yes. Which we thought she would forget it, but she didn't.
Right. She grabbed it and put it in her pocket.
John discovering that Riri's not in the suit. And now going out and finding her while everybody else is doing their thing and causing havoc.
Well, and actually at this point, because Parker has Riri, tells Riri to go and save the others because they've been detected.
Yep.
The alarms are going off, and the reason I gave the description I did earlier was they shut down sectors and they're pumping in CO2 and all these other things, and the entire crew is going to die.
Right.
So Parker sends Riri, the suit, Natalie technically, to save the others.
Yes.
While he's going to take care of himself and John can take care of himself. Continue.
Oh, okay. I thought you were, I was like, man, you're on a roll.
Well, I mean, Riri, she finds the piece of the cape that she cut off. She puts it in her pocket. She heads out. Parker, at this point, has killed the
CEO
for Heirloom.
Yep.
And, he's doing his thing, trying to get, getting out, making sure everybody's safe and blah, 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 and everything else. Riri comes out in one of the legs.
Yes.
One of the compartments. And guess who's there? Here comes John walking in the door.
And boy, is he pissed.
Yeah, he's pissed. He's like, basically, he's saying, what the fuck are you doing here? You're supposed to be in the suit.
Yes. And boy.
So he wants to know what's going on. And they get into, it was pretty much a one-sided fight. I mean, Riri got some hits in here and there, but it was pretty much a one-sided fight, and John was kicking her ass.
Well, yeah. I mean, for one,
from
he's stronger.
stem to stern.
One, he's stronger than her. Two, it's one of those things where you're like, okay, what's going to happen next?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, he basically just kicked the shit out of her,
Yeah. And Natalie comes and saves Riri.
Yes. With the suit.
Because while they're fighting, the CO2 level in this compartment is getting higher and higher and higher. And the higher the CO2, obviously, it can kill you.
Yes. Yes.
Just as Riri's about to pass out, here comes Natalie, picks her up, puts her inside the suit, steps out of the compartment, and closes the door.
Yes.
And stands there.
And oh boy. Not good.
Watches John die.
Because John, yeah, that's the thing. He gets...
Because if John survives, he's going to tell Parker what he found out. And,
Well,
obviously
yes.
Riri can't have that.
Yes, but at the same time, while that's all happening, Clown's destroying plants.
Mm-hmm.
She set off some bombs. Dancing the night away, too. She's dancing. She's having a ball. The twins are on their way back to the rendezvous point.
Yeah.
Hood even tells everybody, get to the rendezvous point.
Yep.
And when John doesn't show up, that's when they go, where's John?
Yeah, and Aunt Parker actually sends Riri out, or up,
Yep,
to scan for him.
Yep. And she does. She scans for him.
She finds him.
But also that there's no life signs.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for some people, they wouldn't be very happy with this outcome, only because superheroes don't normally leave people to die.
True. And there's one other thing that happened.
Yeah.
That I forgot to touch on.
Ooh.
During the fight with John, the biomesh and the laser that she used to cut the piece of fabric off
Yes.
fell off of Riri's arm, and she did not realize it.
Yeah, it went whew, ba-doom.
And it hit the floor.
It bounced a few times too. It was not good. It was not good at all, actually.
Right.
As a matter of fact, it was one of those things where you went, oh shit. Oh shit. However, with the no life signs, obviously they went back to the lair. And oh boy, they were not happy. They took a loss on that one. Not only did they lose John, but they did not get what they wanted when it came to the heist.
Yep.
And again, some people will see that Riri leaving him to die was a bad thing. However, she's not a superhero right now.
Correct.
She's a criminal. She's a robber. She's a thief. She's doing what she needs to in order to survive. It's the fight or flight. And not only that, she's a college student. So, am I disappointed that she left him to die? Nah, not really. Not really. I mean, hell, even Spider-Man had that issue with Uncle Ben.
I mean, she's pretty tore up. She doesn't show it.
No, it's eating her.
Yeah, it's eating her up bad.
Yeah.
As we will find out in episode 4.
Yeah. So for me, I personally wouldn't see this as a 100% bad thing, because again, it's fight or flight. Criminals are going to stab other criminals in the back, but at the same time, she's starting to go down the path of the good. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, before the episode ends, Parker sends everyone home.
Yep.
Tells them to get out. Took a loss today. You're done. And as that happens, he starts freaking out. Because he's pissed. His cousin John is dead.
Yep. I mean, he is literally screaming.
Oh, yeah.
at whatever it is that is possessing him
Yes.
and controlling him. He's screaming at, I'm done with you.
Yes.
You let him die.
Was
And then
that
all of a
part
sudden,
of your plan?
then all of a sudden, there's an image
Yes.
that appears on the other side of the room of John as he's dying.
Yeah.
But then they also, whatever is possessing him shows him who the killer was by the shadowy image of a very familiar looking suit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Crazy thing to me, all right? These episodes are anywhere from 45 to 55 minutes long.
Yes.
They spent 20 minutes on the heist.
Really?
When they did the tunnel, it was maybe 10.
I didn't really keep track of that. But that's pretty cool.
You know, they spent 20 minutes on the heist
I mean,
at Heirloom.
it's understandable.
The tunnel mission, they spent maybe 10 minutes. So, but there were a lot of things that needed to happen during this heist. So, you know, the focus on this was, to me, I mean, I realized while I was watching, it's like they're spending an awful lot of time on this heist,
Okay.
you know, which is unusual,
Yeah.
especially to break into the detail that they did with each of the groups and what they were doing and what John was doing and what Parker was doing with the CEO, what Riri was trying to do, and everything else. Ended up taking about 20 minutes of time in this episode. So that only leaves 30 minutes for all the other stuff to go on.
Right.
You know, so the fact that they did that to me says a lot,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And not for nothing, but we're at that point. We're at that turning point now. We're at that turning point of Riri kind of ready to step up and away from the group. You know?
Yeah.
Which should be interesting, to say the least.
Which, I mean, she ends up getting her wish. Maybe not the way that she wanted to, but she ends up getting her wish.
True. Very true. So, this episode, since I'm odd this time.
Yes, sir, you are. Well, we already knew that, but yeah, you're the odd number
yes.
episode.
So, I did like the pacing of this episode. Because in reality, it did not feel like it was almost an hour long.
No. I agree.
I love the addition of Ezekiel and the technology. And I love that she's using that technology to her advantage.
And to try to do good.
Yes. Natalie is phenomenal. Lyric Ross, she is freaking nailing it as her best friend / AI. She really is. Like the screen chemistry between the two is great.
So a little clarification, as her dead
Yes.
best friend.
Dead best friend / AI. Whenever she's on screen, and again, I loved her in This Is Us. She was great in that. Every role she has done so far, that's the type of actor that she is. She puts herself out there completely and just embraces the role. And I love it. I like that they're not using the suit all the time. Only when needed. This episode is not a 4. I'm giving it a 3.75.
Really?
Not done. The reason I'm giving it a 3.75 is because I feel they did not use Ezekiel more than they should have. He should have had a little bit of a bigger part when it came to the technology and the biomesh and the laser that they used. I was hoping to see something else besides biomesh. Okay, great. You know, there should have been something more.
Right. And they did touch on that a little bit just to kind of devil's advocate with you.
They did.
But it was very quick because it was at when they were at the door to Riri's apartment.
Yeah.
You know, and he listed off like 6 things, and the biomesh was one of them.
Yes.
That they could do. You know, but I see where you're coming from.
Yes. So, for me, it's a 3.75. I wanted to go 4. I was so close, but...
A little more technology from Zeke, and you would have been there.
Yes. Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. I can see where you're coming from on that.
Yep.
Shit went dark quick
It really did.
in this episode. I mean, it got dark 10 minutes into the episode.
Yep.
It started going that way. I agree with everything that you said. The fact, and I just mentioned this, the fact that they spent as much time as they did on the heirloom heist.
Yep.
And I keep wanting to say helium. I don't know why. Is strange to me because they usually don't do that. And even, you know, including episode 4, really not seeing anything other than the death of John and how John died.
Yes.
Not seeing anything relevant to it since then.
True.
So, you know, I mean, did I like the focus on it? Yeah, I did. I truly enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But in the overall scheme of things, I think they could have cut even 5 minutes off of that and used that to give you the extra 5 minutes of tech.
Yes.
You know, when Riri and Zeke were at his house and she was fixing up his arm and everything else, they could have delved into it a little bit more. Natalie, I like Natalie. I love the way that she interacts, and you're right. Their on-screen chemistry is amazing. The way she operates the suit, on the other hand,
Yeah, she's got some issues.
kind of clunky.
Yes.
You know, it would be like, you know, the robot from Lost in Space, you know, Danger Will Robinson, running the suit. Okay, it's kind of what it feels like to me.
Danger, danger.
Because of that, honestly, it's because of Natalie and the, I don't know, almost misuse of time with the robbery scene or the heist scene. I'm actually going lower than you.
Really?
3.5.
Wow.
It's a good episode. I like the episode, but there were too many things that were off to me that just, I don't know, they didn't mesh right, and no pun intended with the biomesh. But it just didn't mesh with the rest of the storyline comfortably to me. So, and that's truly looking at it from the outside.
And I mean, that's pretty good. It's pretty good looking at it from out there. But then we go into episode 4.
And we thought the shit hit the fan before.
And boy, episode 4 is woof. Want to say
Real
hi
quick,
to
Wes.
Initiator. Hello, sir.
Yes, good to see you.
Good to see you, sir.
Calling us crazy.
Yeah, right? Like Kettle Black?
And as soon as Initiator walks in, walks in, silent alarms go off for both of us.
It's like, shit! Holy crap!
Trouble's here, trouble's
We're on
here.
our own. Run! Run! Well, anyway, hello, Initiator. Good to see you, sir. Good to see you. So, episode 4. Very interesting, to say the least, with episode 4. Obviously, this is now the ramifications of the heist gone wrong.
Way to put it.
And there's a lot going on with this one because Joe McGillicuddy, also known as Ezekiel Stain or Zeke, has officially been arrested for the heist. And really, it starts off that way. Well, it starts off really with Parker completely submerged in an ice bath.
Yeah, that was weird. And
For
according
over-
to that timer, he was down there for like 11 hours and 30 minutes.
Was it 11 hours? I thought it was just 11 minutes.
It looked like 11 hours and 38 minutes and some seconds.
Which just
It was
goes
11
to show
dot
you.
dot 38 dot dot and then the seconds.
Ha! Even Initiator says 11 minutes.
Is it 11 minutes? Okay.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell which one it was from the way that thing went.
But the thing,
I mean, the guy is possessed.
yes, which we're learning more and more, obviously. One of the things when it comes down to this is they're all together. They're all talking about the issue at hand, John's death. We've got Parker submerging himself, and basically Joe McGillicuddy, also known as Ezekiel or Zeke, is now the fall guy. Because of the biomesh and the laser that Riri was using, they were able to trace it back to him, and all of a sudden, everything pertaining to Obadiah Stane, his father, is coming out of the woodwork because he got arrested for this. Now, Parker is...
Initiator says that he binged the show after last week.
Nice. See? So, now we're seeing news reports come up all over the place about how Ezekiel is related to Obadiah, how his father was, the disgrace and the fall of Obadiah Stane, and how he's got to live with this now, and he only sees his father as a supervillain, which is true, because he's the Ironmonger. Just putting it out there, Parker is trying to figure out what to do about Riri because, well, let's face it, she's the reason John is dead.
Mm.
And we know there's some dark magic happening because he is the Hood. And if you're any fan of comic book lore, you know as well as I do where that hood comes from. And I did bring
Actually, I don't.
Which one?
Actually, I don't.
That's not true. We talked about it during episode 1. I will remind you. It is a cloak that was stolen from Dormammu
Oh, yeah.
in the comics.
And you expected me to remember that.
Yeah, because it was only last week that we talked about it.
And how much have we talked about and watched since then that I'm trying to keep in here?
Very true. Very true. Initiator says he's a dork with a cloak, not a silly Marine. True. Very true.
He'd probably stand a better chance if he was a Marine.
Also true. At least his fighting would be better. Now,
Yeah.
clearly, the next heist is going to be happening soon.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, we kind of have a feeling that Riri is not going to be involved in this because of what happened with John, and that Parker knows.
But
and they all do like
She
a
does,
little...
you know, obviously, she doesn't know that Parker does.
True. But, you know, they start talking about how they should say some things about John and all that. Kind of like a little funeral, so to speak. You know?
A remembrance session.
Yeah, there you go. That's a great term. A remembrance section. I like it.
There's a couple of people that don't know Initiator.
Just saying. But because of that, yes, Scotty doesn't know. Kudos, sir. Kudos. It is true. However, with that being said, you know, Parker sends everybody home. We're going to get ready for the next heist. It's coming soon. I'll let you all know when you all need to report. Go home. Everybody home. And when Riri gets home, obviously the paranoia has set in. She knows something is up because Parker was staring at her the entire time. Because his cousin John is dead. And the Hood let him know who did it. Or who the reason was. She didn't actually kill him. It's just what
She facilitated his death.
She let him die.
Like I said, she facilitated his death.
She let him die.
Come on, I threw out a fancy word there and you didn't even give me credit for it.
Facilitated? You think facilitated is a fancy word?
For me.
As Initiator just said, she saved herself. Yes. Fight or flight.
I'd have done the same damn thing.
Natalie technically saved her, as JT pointed out.
Yep.
So, part of the problem that Riri now has is that she is afraid that Parker is going to kill her. So now she's doing all this home security stuff, cameras and all that good shit.
Can I throw something in here?
Sure.
She's also terrified that not only is Parker going to kill her, but that he is going to kill her family and everyone she loves.
Yes. Yes.
Thus the paranoia, thus setting up all the cameras that she set up.
Yeah.
Giving her mom and Natalie's brother. Can't think of his name.
Oh, yeah. That's, hang on. Xavier.
Initiator said doofus.
Xavier,
yes. That's why she gave her the watch of protection to her mother. She gave one to Xavier. You know, she went into paranoia safety mode.
Yes.
Which, I mean, understandable.
Which is, yeah, well, I mean, and that's
no
the
Initiator,
thing.
not Charles.
In the long run, that's what she's doing.
Yeah, I mean, and it's understandable.
And she's also in the process of trying to figure out what is making the Hood have its powers. She's trying to analyze it, and everything that she does is failing. Until she walks away and comes back over, and it disappears. It's still there. It just disappears.
Yeah, because her mom came to the door.
Yes. And it was like it was reacting to whatever was around her. At the same time, she finally gets like so frustrated that she finally asks her mother for help. And I loved her mother's reaction to this. For a few reasons. Reason number one, it was one of those, well, it's about frickin' time you came to me, right? And reaction number two, as they're sitting and drinking tea, she asks her if she needs anything stronger. Like weed or anything along those lines, maybe even edibles.
Chamomile tea seems to be doing its job, though.
Oh yeah, the tea was definitely doing its job. Especially when she asked, "How's that chamomile doing?" It's really good.
Hard to work, isn't it?
That's really good. Well,
It's a little funny thing that happened, though, because, Riri's actually finally falling asleep.
yeah.
And I guess she's got a TV going or something, and
Her
you hear
mother.
a couple of gunshots.
Yes.
And then you hear Riri's mom screaming.
Oh yeah, that's right. She had busted down her
So-
door.
Now, Riri had laid down inside the suit.
I mean, sometimes
She,
be
she was
comfortable.
worried, so she wanted to give herself an extra layer of protection.
Yeah.
Totally understand that. I've gone to sleep with my gun across my chest a couple of times myself.
Yep.
But that was in combat too. But so, she hears her mom scream. She jumps up, goes running through, and as her mom put it, "You came busting through my door like the Kool-Aid guy."
Yes. Which was awesome. Because it's so
Oh my
true.
God, that was hilarious.
Because it was so true. She really, just broke down the door and everything.
Right.
I liked that. I thought it was great.
I did too. It was funny as hell. Like, what the hell is going on? Oh, it must have heard the gunshots on the TV, and that's what it reacted
It
to.
just reacted.
She's in this little protective force field ball.
I'm sorry, Mom. I'm sorry. I
You
didn't
know the
mean to.
little gerbil balls, the hamster balls that you can put them in the ball and they can run around the house. It was kind of like that.
I'll go get my ball. So,
That
As,
just didn't
uh,
sound right.
now very relaxed Riri. The next day, her mother brings her to a store. A nice little storefront. Which I thought was also very, very interesting. Because, well, let's face it. It's not your normal store.
No, not your normal place.
It's the store in which you go to get some help. And I mean that in a very nice way possible.
Right.
As Initiator just said, it's a candy shop. Sure it is.
Yeah, and it's
Sure.
owned by her mother's hippy dippy friend.
Yes. Madeline, which we saw in the
Yes.
first episode.
Mm-hmm.
Madeline does a lot with tarot cards and readings and stuff like that.
Spices.
But her daughter, on the other hand, Zelma, well, she makes things happen.
Yeah.
Initiator said, "Did you not see those Skittles change color?" Oh, I saw them. Just a wave of the hand. However, what I thought was cool was the fact that Zelma just decided to transport the four of them through the floor to a different parallel dimension. And Zelma got in trouble for it. What have I told you about doing this thing in a different parallel dimension? You're not supposed to be doing that. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm getting yelled at by my mother again when I was little. Totally warranted.
She wasn't supposed to do it without asking.
That, yes, true.
Very, very key words that have to be put in there.
Yes. But in Zelma's reaction was, well, I mean, it's better to do it now than not have to worry about it.
Mm-hmm.
Now she studies where Doctor Strange has studied. Kamatage.
Yep.
She's a
And like
sorcerer.
I said before we came on the air, they invoked the name of Doctor Strange.
They did. Kamatage. But what I thought was really cool is before they went into this little workshop that she had through the floor and in a different dimension, was the fact that she knew something was in Riri's pocket.
Mm-hmm.
Because they had the piece of the hood in her pocket.
She had the cloth in the bottle.
Yeah. And that was when they went, no, you need me. You need to know what's going on with this thing. And once they were in the lab, we'll call it a little lab. That's when the two started working together as mother and daughter to figure out what this was.
Seamlessly.
Yeah. They were so quick to start doing things. And they were talking, and like, it was hard to keep up, to be honest. Yeah. Which I thought was great. And
Rari's even sitting there going, now what are you doing now?
What are you doing with that? Why are you... No, don't do that. What? Hey, stop it. Well, they get to a point where they do finally see what is controlling this fabric, this hood. And they go, you need to get out. You need to get out now. Because this is just going to bring more issues for you.
As from a very dark place in another universe.
Yeah. As Initiator just said, Dormother, it's Dormammu. I've come to bargain. But yes, not wrong. But we don't get into that until episode 5. Yeah.
The big thing was they told her that she needed to destroy that.
Yes, you need to destroy it, and now.
But they didn't tell her how.
Well, no, they didn't really have enough time. They kind of got kicked out of the store. Yeah. Not only kicked out of the store, but also to the point where Riri gets into a fight with her mother. Not like a big, like, I'm going to yell at you from across the street type fight and bitch slap you. It's more of...
It was a loud discussion on the street.
Yeah, like an argument, so to speak. And now she's like, okay, how do I destroy this thing? What do I need to do to destroy it and be done with it for forever, you know? And she does. She tries to destroy it, and nothing is working. Everything she does fails to destroy it.
She tried fire.
Yep.
She tried ice. She tried bio. She tried chemical.
Yep.
I mean, she even came up with some crap that I didn't think of. I can't remember. They showed her trying like 6 different things.
Sure.
Did she try the TVA?
No, but wouldn't it have been great?
That would have been cool. They probably would have been able to figure out. But yeah, I mean, it was her attempts to destroy it were rather comical.
Yes. Now, the other thing is, how do you destroy a magic cloak? I mean,
Other magic usually.
well, yes, exactly. Other magic, and that's just from coming from our blowtorch. Didn't work apparently. That's just coming from you as an outsider, me as an insider, and going, every single fictional work of art that's out there, from comic books to novels, the only way to destroy something that's magic is to use magic.
Yeah. And Initiator brings up an interesting question.
Yeah.
Or an interesting point. Fire or laser, which is, I mean, basically extremely concentrated fire,
Yep.
was able to cut a piece off of it, off of the cape. So why wouldn't fire be able to destroy it if fire was able to cut it?
True. It's a very good question.
So.
It's a very good question.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's all good.
Just a little misstep by them on that one. But anyway.
But it did take a long time to cut as well. And it's not really destroying it. All they did was cut a piece off. Now she's trying to destroy it, and nothing's working.
It's just a questionable part of the show there.
Yeah. Initiator says obvious plot hole. And it's only due to not wanting to be detected. Stealth. Yeah. I mean, that does pose an eventual problem.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing is she gets so flustered with this.
Yeah, she's laying on the floor trying to figure everything out.
Yeah. Now, while this is happening, Hood meets up with Ezekiel in jail. Well, actually, even before that, Riri meets with him and says she's going to get him out, number one.
And he basically tells her to go screw herself.
Yep. Number
I'm
two,
done here.
Hood lets him in on a little secret and says, listen, you can have your life back. Start a new life. But you know what? You got to let me know by lights out tonight.
He gave him the option. He says, you can be Joe.
Yeah. Or Zeke.
And rot here in prison for the rest of your life.
Yep.
Or you could be Zeke and get your life back.
Yep.
Make your decision by lights out.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll go from there.
Yeah, sure. Sure. Now, while things are happening,
Riri's freaking the hell out.
Riri's freaking out, and she finally gets to the point where she's having a basic panic attack in flight.
Extreme panic attack.
Reminiscent of Tony Stark in Iron Man 3.
Mm-hmm.
And Natalie finds a place for them to land in a junkyard and ejects her from the suit. And she's losing it. Like, she's at that point of,
She's gone.
yeah. So, in order to help Natalie, to help Riri calm down, Natalie takes the suit and flies off and gets her brother, Xavier. I like how they did this, by the way. I like that the suit, she flew the suit right to his window, knocked on the window, and just basically said, "Come here," and opened up. And
he's like, "Hey, hi, Riri, floating outside my window."
Yeah. What are you doing? And
he was on like the 3rd or 4th floor or something.
And flies off and does whatever. Now,
I love what he says when the suit kicks him out there when they get to Natalie.
Yep.
It kidnapped me.
Yes. Your suit kidnapped me. Well, I didn't mean to. But that's when Natalie shows herself to her brother. And he flips.
Yep.
Flips, saying she had no right to do that. No right to make Natalie an AI. No.
Yeah.
You could have deleted it.
Yeah. Riri tries to compare it to the tapes.
Yeah.
That he makes in her honor.
Yes.
He says, "I'm honoring her. You're playing with her."
Yes. And Initiator agrees. It's rightfully so that he would be pissed. And yes, no, that is not in question whatsoever. Not in question.
And truth be told, she
all.
did try to delete it.
She did. But
so, to give her credit, she did try to delete it, but then Natalie convinced her not to.
Right. Did what she needed to do. And not only does he tell Riri to delete her, but she thought about it too. And that got Natalie pissed.
Yep. Natalie went back into the suit and took off.
Again,
gone.
Rightfully so.
Mm-hmm.
So she flies off. Okay.
Xavier threw the watch back at her, that watch that she gave him back to her, threw it at her, and he walked off. So far, she's pissed off her mom's friend.
Yep.
Her mom.
Yep.
Natalie.
Yep.
Xavier.
Yep.
Parker.
Yep.
And Zeke.
Yep. And
Who's
everybody
left?
else in the crew.
Yeah, everybody in the crew.
She is basically
There's nobody left.
Yeah. She's basically alienated every single member of this cast.
Yep.
Now, Ezekiel, on the other hand, says, yeah, okay. And
he's got a whole new group of friends.
Not only do they break him out of jail, but they also get all the tech that he needs.
Well, they got the tech from the police that they confiscated.
Yep. So they throw all of that in the truck, and he's like, wow, you got all my stuff too? Yeah, for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
So Riri's on her own. Zeke is now with the rest of the gang, and boy, is he coming up with stuff to the point where he alters his body and basically makes him like a cyborg.
We don't know what he does.
Right.
We don't know what happens in this episode, so I don't go too far. The last we see of him is he's laying there and what's her name gives him the spoon to bite on.
They're doing something.
They activate the machine, and then you see two drills that start to rotate. And they start coming in on the head, and then other arms come in to block it. But you hear him scream.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and listen, he went old school and put the wooden spoon in his mouth.
That was funny. She hands it to him and says, bite down on this.
Bite down.
And does. And as she's turning around, she goes, good boy.
Good boy. Good boy. Good boy.
Initiator says, no shield at work to take shit.
So, gotta remember, shield is no more. Well, not entirely no more. I have to stress that. Not entirely no more. Shield is gone. Sword, however, is around. But they're up in space.
In space?
In space. Yep.
Yes.
Space. Not only that, but we just had the Krull invasion. Sorry, not Krull. Skrull. Wow, I can't even. Ugh.
Welcome to my world.
Yeah, oh yeah, it happens all the time. So we've got that going on.
You just hide it better than I do.
I try. Doesn't work all the time. But yeah, I mean, there's technically no shield.
Yep. I mean, this is... When I said in episode 3, holy crap, shit got dark.
Yeah.
Quick. Well, it kept going down.
Yes.
Through this episode.
Yes.
I mean, you could break this episode into 3 sections.
Yes.
Riri and her family, Riri and Zeke, and Riri and Hood and the gang.
Okay. I gotcha.
And then you have Zeke at the end.
Now, just to kind of add to Initiator's little shield question, there's also damage control, which is working under the Avengers, which is working under Stark, which is technically under the government now because, well, let's face it, the Avengers are no more.
I thought Damage Control was a women's tag team in WWE.
Well, you're not wrong. But it's
you said that. That's where my head went.
But it's the DODC, which is the Department of Damage Control, which came about right after the attack of New York.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's a gray area when it comes to that. Otherwise, the police just confiscated it and did what they needed to do.
Right.
Now,
and it probably eventually would have ended up in one of their hands once they were done with the case against him and everything. And
probably.
That, so.
Probably.
Yeah.
Now, from there, that's it. That's the end of the episode.
Yep.
No heist. Just a lot of drama. A lot of drama. And
Nothing
one confused genius.
You talk about a big mama drama. This entire episode.
Oh, yeah.
Was a big mama drama.
But seriously, she pissed off everybody.
Yeah. I mean, I like what they say here at the end of this review. And it says, you know, it may be unfair, but it completely erases any kind of context or consideration of motive. If you were in Zeke's place,
yeah,
or Parker's, or the crew's, or Bonnie's, or Xavier's, or Natalie's,
yeah,
would you be inclined to be charitable to Riri because Riri has used everybody
yep,
to an end to benefit her?
It's true.
And we could go through and break it down if you want to, but I don't think we need to go into that much detail. But she's used everybody.
Yeah.
To her own end. The worst of which being Xavier and her mother.
Yes.
In my opinion. So, you know, she's not a bad person.
Yep.
But she got herself into a bad position and was trying to find the only way that she could on her own to get out of it.
Very true.
And by doing so, the people that she hadn't alienated, which up until this point was Natalie, Xavier, and her mother.
Yes.
Now they're gone. As far as we know.
Things that make you go,
The psychological breakdown that Riri went through in this episode. You know, the terrified worry of her mother and Xavier of them getting hurt and being killed by Parker.
So true.
The obsession, it's the only way I can think of putting it, of destroying that piece of cape, trying to fix everything that she's messed up and everything else. Her losing it like she did.
Yep.
I think, in my opinion, is as realistic in today's standards as they could have gotten.
Yeah, especially when it comes down to making characters more human.
Mm-hmm. Which they've been doing, and I've talked about this many times. Marvel has sat down, and so has Star Wars, and their focus has been making these characters as close to being us
Yes.
as they possibly can.
Yes.
You know, in this case, they showed her in a full-fledged panic attack where normally people would end up in a hospital.
Yeah. Yeah.
The exchange between Zeke and Parker and the escape from jail
That was great.
was really cool.
Yeah.
Unrealistic as could possibly be, but it was pretty cool. You know, lights went out. As soon as the lights went out, about 30 seconds after lights went out, click, his door unlocked.
Yeah.
And they guided him with where to go by turning on and off lights.
Which was pretty impressive.
Which, you know, they had to be controlling cameras and everything else in order to be, you know, unlocking doors and relocking doors and all this other stuff in order to get him out of the prison.
Yep.
A lot of crazy shit happened in this episode.
Oh, yeah.
But I felt
Did
I
you
don't
want
like
more
being. Oh, how do I put this?
let on
No.
in the dark?
Maybe a combination of those. I mean, it's just
halfway out.
I did not like the way I felt at the end of this episode.
Okay. All right.
Something didn't feel right. Something felt off. Not about me, but about the show.
Okay.
Something felt weird. Because of that, it was a great episode. I loved everything that happened in it.
Yep.
But because of that, getting 3.5 iron helmets.
Okay.
Ironheart helmets.
All right.
3.5.
So I have a theory. Because
When don't you have a theory?
I listen. I'm always coming up with theories and getting proven right or occasionally proven wrong. So
I haven't got a theory right.
Here is my theory.
Okay.
Only because I know the history of the Red Hood. Okay. Which we know the history of the Red Hood, or the Hood, comes from a demon. That demon is someone that I'm not going to name.
Dormother?
No, that's Dormammu. But again, it's related to Dormammu because it comes from the Dark Dimension. We know this. We know it comes from the Dark Dimension. The person who stole that hood from Dormammu in the comics plays a very, very prominent role in certain other characters' comic books as well. Now, since Initiator has binged it, he knows what I'm referring to. I'm all caught up as well, and I'm not going to give it away. Okay? Initiator, don't give it away either. Just putting it out there.
Yes, because I have not watched any further than episode 4.
Yeah.
So,
you got to watch 5 and 6.
yes.
And you're probably going to have to watch it again since we're off next week.
Well, that'll give me time to be able to watch them both for twice.
Exactly. And you don't have to rush, you know. But the theory pertains to that specific character. I'm going to turn it to the theory of the piece of the cloth that Riri has is affecting her without her realizing it. Which is why
it's influencing her.
Yes, without her knowing. Because if you remember watching this episode, that cloak disappeared a few times, even when she was holding it.
Well, and they did explain to her in the candy shop.
Yep.
That was because it was unstable.
Yes. Well, because she cut it off.
No, because the whole thing was unstable.
Well, yeah, I mean...
Not just because she cut it off, but because it was unstable.
Yes.
I didn't think of that. That's, you know what? That makes sense. That might be why I'm feeling the way I'm feeling after this episode.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And in the long run, if you think about it, that is why she is alienating everybody that she loves, even though she's trying to protect them.
I mean, think about it. Other than his crew, Parker alienated everybody else.
There it is.
And he stayed away from his crew most of the time.
There it is, right there.
Other than John, but I think John was being influenced by the cape as well.
Not so much the cape, but more Parker.
I think it was both. Because John was a very, very dark individual. And when they did the flashback to when they robbed the mansion,
yeah,
John wasn't that dark. He was mean, but he wasn't that dark.
True. But anything's possible.
Yeah, very true. So what's your rating?
My rating, and this is only because of my theory, which kind of changes things a little bit, is a 4.
Okay.
My rating is 4 helmets. Just because of that theory. I really do think that cloth, if she cut it, is affecting.
What would it be if it wasn't for that theory?
If it wasn't for that theory, it'd be a 3.75.
Okay.
Guaranteed.
So it's not changing it that much. Then.
Yeah. Initiator wants me to repeat the theory. So my theory is that the cloth that she cut from the hood is affecting her, which is why she alienated everybody that she knows and loves. When it comes to the comic, and again, you and I have already watched all the episodes, so you and I know what's going to happen next. And
so don't ruin it because I haven't watched it.
Not going to ruin it. We're not going to bring up the character that I've been wanting to bring up for quite some time. However, Initiator says could just be she's young. Yes, but
this is if the cloth is influencing her, and granted, it might not be able to influence her a lot, but it's influencing her enough. Holy crap! Why am I having such a hard time saying that? She's going to work outside of character, and you kind of look at the things that have happened since she's had that piece of the cape.
Yeah.
She's been a little bit outside of her normal character.
She done been bitchy.
There was one interesting thing that I wanted to talk about just real quick. When Riri went, and I think of this now and I think of your theory, and I think you'll see the tie. When Riri went and gave Xavier the watch.
Yep.
Do you remember what she asked him? Do you think I'm good?
Oh, yes, yes.
Do you think I'm a good person?
Yes. I do remember that.
Maybe the influence was really going on there.
Just saying.
It's a very interesting theory, and it would explain a lot.
I mean, we know that the cloak is powered by dark magic from the dark dimension, which Dormammu rules over. Right. We know, comic book wise, that hood was stolen from Dormammu by a specific character who I cannot mention because I don't want to ruin it. But I guarantee you, when JT watches episodes 5 and 6, he's going to go, shit, Sully was right again. Because I've already mentioned this character.
Yeah.
And Initiator says, we don't know that. No, comic book wise, we do. It's all up here. We just know it's old like Dormammu. I love that you call him Dormammu when it's Dormammu.
Like Dormother.
Dormammu. I've come to bargain. Doormat. So with my theory, it's a 4. Without the theory, it's a 3.75. So I will say, so you know what? I will say that straight down, I'll give it a 3.9. There you go. Almost a 4, but not quite.
3.85.
Sure. I just rounded up because it was easier.
Lazy.
That too. So, with that being said, we're off for a week. Yep. I'm going on vacation. Mostly because I need to.
He's going on holiday.
I'm going on a holiday. Going away. However, we will be live tomorrow. JT said no. JT has no choice. Yeah, it's not paid leave. We can't afford it. Hey, if JT wants to go live, he's more than welcome to. He knows that. He can go live whenever he wants.
I'm here to show you just how stupid I am when it comes to the Marvel Universe, folks.
Yeah, there you go.
That's about what that show would be.
And it's all good. It's all good. But when we come back, we will go over episodes 5 and 6 of Ironheart. So not next Monday, but in 2 weeks. We will be live for the Sully Show tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So make sure you come on in, have some fun, check it out, tell your friends. It's going to be wonderful. But we will also be off the following week. I am working on a best of show where it'll be running for like 2 hours. Hopefully. I may have to program it where it's an hour and then another hour. We'll see. But I'm going to work on it. I'm already cutting stuff up. It's wonderful. So, with that being said, there he is, the redneck himself, JT. He's going to say goodbye now.
Goodbye now.
And I am the geek. And we will see you tomorrow for the Sully Show. And then in 2 weeks for another Avenger Pretenders. Initiator, you have 2 hours of content. I have...
Dude, we got 15 years of audio and at least 10 of video.
Yeah, I've got every show that we have ever done up to date. So yes,
If he can't find 2 hours worth of content in that,
I got stuff.
He's got 2 hours of content just with my flubs.
It's true. It's true. So,
especially since one of them lasted like 20 minutes.
It's also true. With that being said, good night, everybody. We'll see you in 2 weeks. And I'll see you tomorrow for the Sully Show as well. And as always, Thanos was right. Have a good night, everybody.